While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Here's a tip for you. There's a podcast out there with fans waiting to be your next customer. They tune in every week, they trust the host, and that host wants to talk about brands like yours in their own words to their audience. The problem is, you just haven't been introduced yet. We're Acast, where that introduction happens. As the world's largest podcast marketplace, we let you browse shows, see who's listening, and book host-read sponsorships or run your own ads, all from one platform. Transparent pricing, real-time data, complete control. Start advertising on podcasts by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to Day 11 of 14 Days of Summer Fear. I've got 3 spooky summer-themed stories to share with you today, and I will get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? My first experience at my grandparents' beach house. This was my first paranormal experience. Before this, I'd never believed in ghosts and things like that. The paranormal just wasn't something my family talked about, and the extent of my knowledge about the subject started and ended with the episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark I used to watch as a kid. My mum's parents used to own a beach house in New Jersey. I don't know when it was built, or if my grandparents were the first people to live there. But I know my mum used to spend her summers there as a kid, so it had been there since at least 1959. Growing up, I spent my summers there too. Nothing weird or out of the ordinary ever happened. But I remember asking my mum one time why the doors to the crawl space in our room, it was her room as a kid, had security chains on them. She told me that's just the way they'd been made and left it alone. I spent the summer between 8th and 9th grade there, so I was 12 at the time. I'd just gotten out of the shower and was coming out of the bathroom and turning to go into my mum's room to get dressed, when there was a blackish figure standing in the doorway. It's kind of hard to describe, but it looked like black mist, roughly in the shape of a person. It was semi-transparent. I could see through it and into the bedroom. But I remember it being incredibly tall. I had to crane my neck to take it all in. At this point, I'm scared to death. Like I said, I'd never had an experience with anything like this and had no idea what to do. I ran down the steps so fast I fell down them, and my mum, who was watching a movie on the couch, kept asking what happened. I was so scared I couldn't talk, so she eventually got me calmed down and got me some clothes. I refused to go back upstairs, so I could sleep on the couch. Fast forward a few years. My grandmother passed away, so my grandfather moved to Florida. He had no reason to keep the beach house anymore and sold it to a developer for a few $1 million. They tore it down and built a huge hotel complex. As my mum's telling me this, she kept saying how happy she was it was getting torn down. I asked why, since we had so many memories there that I was really upset to see it go. She made some offhanded comment about it being haunted and the place always giving her the creeps. She goes on to tell me the following story. When my mum was 16, her family was spending the summer down there as usual. Her cousin decided to come with them, and her cousin was kind of a bad influence. Anyway, so they're both in her room with the door locked since they're smoking cigarettes. Now, both my mum's room and my uncle's room had crawl spaces, but they didn't connect. They only went around the perimeter of each room. While my mum and her cousin are smoking, they heard a knock from the inside the crawl space. At the time, there were no locks on them, just handles, so my mum thought it was weird that someone was knocking. My mum and her cousin look at each other in a "did you hear that" kind of way. Maybe they were just imagining things. After all, they were already on edge about being caught smoking. My mum's cousin starts to inch closer to the door of the crawl space to see if she could hear better. Once she gets her ear against it, the door flies open and hits my mum's cousin so hard it literally knocks her unconscious. At this point, my mum's freaking out, yelling and screaming her head off. I think she might have gone into shock or something, because she remembers that she couldn't move, like she was paralysed with fear, and my grandfather and uncles had to beat the door down to get in since she couldn't unlock it. As she's telling them what happened, my uncles immediately go searching through the crawl space. There's nothing there. There's no sign of someone having been in there, like a creepy guy who broke in and had been waiting in there or something like that. They couldn't explain it, and naturally thought my mum was just making up stories. They put the security chains on the doors to make her feel better, but they never talked about it again. When I told her what had happened to me a few years before, she was just as freaked out as I was. I don't know if what I saw was related to her story or not, but I've always wondered what it was with that room. Chain it up, barricade it. I could not deal with that because I just wouldn't sleep. I'd be staring at the door to the crawl space every night. And I love the idea of a summer house. It sounds very quaint and lovely. All of these stories are about summer houses today, and I'm having second thoughts, to be perfectly honest. Are you ready for the second story? A strange shadow has been reappearing over the years at the beach house. It all started around 2010. I was around 13 years old, and my family has this beach house in Chavana, a neighbourhood in Omoa, Honduras. No one lives in the house, or any other house in a 2-kilometre radius. We only go there for a week or two a year, except for a watchman, my family and our neighbours, hired to watch after the houses all year long. When you get to the house, you don't think much of it. The house doesn't have a strange vibe. It's actually very comfortable. It has TV, internet, AC, etc. Everything you need. Anyways, we were there in 2010 or 2009, can't remember exactly when. And it was like 3 a.m. and everyone was asleep and I was bored. So I was just watching the beach from my room. Here's a sketch I did where you can see where my room was and still is, and the link is attached. So I was in that room looking at the beach from the window, and I saw a shadow running from the garage, past the pool and jumping the fence. There was a full moon that night, so it was very clear what I saw. It was a human shadow, in case that wasn't clear. Now, these type of things have always happened to me. I'm used to seeing things that cannot be explained, and my parents have never believed me, so I never told them what I saw. And to be honest, it wasn't even that shocking of an event. But they were about ready to believe with what happened several years later at that same house. Fast forward April 2013. We were on holiday there, and there were several cousins and aunts. There were like 20 of us. It was 12 a.m.-ish, and we were playing Monopoly. They took all the electronics from us. We were in the same room where I saw that shadow years ago, but it never crossed my mind. It was almost a forgotten memory, until a cousin of mine started screaming. A lot. He says that he was watching through the window. Yes, the same window. He was petrified and couldn't move until he heard the words, "God doesn't exist," but in Spanish. It was "Dios no existe." And then the shadow started running towards the fence, just like he did when I first saw it. My family is kind of religious, so we all prayed all night long. And at around 8 a.m, we were ready to leave. My cousin was still freaked out at this point. He was about 14 at the time, when we noticed that the neighbours were already gone. My dad asked the watchman what had happened, and he told us their 6-year-old kid woke up screaming because there was an old man in his room. The man was looking at him and grabbed his face, like trying to asphyxiate him, until his dad walked in, and the dad says he saw a shadow that quickly left the room through the window as soon as he walked in. They immediately left the house. Our families later talked about it, and we came to the conclusion that both events of that night happened at around the same time. It's all really weird. We've been back to the house, and we haven't experienced anything weird yet. My cousin said he will never go back though, and he hasn't. Our neighbours sold their house. Our watchman is about 70 years old, and has been doing it since he was 15. He used to guard houses with his dad, who also did it with his own dad, our watchman's grandpa. Our watchman says that the terrain used to be a cemetery, and when the houses were being built back in the 60s, there were some groups of people doing rituals in there because apparently the houses were left undone for several years, so people used to take advantage of that and simply got in to do their stuff. I haven't been able to find any info about this, sadly, but I wanted to ask if there are records of anything similar, shadows running through houses and physically attacking children. What is it? It does sound like somebody's been doing rituals, and there is a naked shadow man running about the house, causing chaos. I'd have done what the neighbours did, sold up, moved on, found a summer house somewhere else, although by the sounds of it they're all haunted. Are you ready for the third and final story? I think something followed me home from vacation. Sorry for such a long story. I had to cover about a week's worth of activity. I need some help identifying whatever the hell is here with me. I just got back from a week-long vacation last night, and the same activity from the house I was staying in is going on at my apartment. I apologise in advance for any incoherence in what I say, because I haven't gotten much sleep the last week. The house we stayed in was gorgeous, and since my entire extended family was staying there, 18 people, It was also absolutely massive. It was split into 2 parts, the old side of the house, roughly just a basement studio and 3 bedrooms upstairs, and the newer side. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the newer side, as no paranormal activity took place there, but it was a gorgeous house. I shared a room with my girlfriend, and since we were the last to arrive, we got the worst room in the house. Now, not only did we get the smallest room in the house, it was about 10 foot by 10 foot. It was also the old side of the house, directly in front of the basement stairs. As I had been driving for 6 hours that day, I was pretty tired, so I said hello to everyone and quickly got into bed to go to sleep. It was around 11 p.m. when my girlfriend and I got into bed. She's lucky in the sense that she can fall asleep just about anywhere in 5 minutes, so she was asleep within seconds. I had a weird, uneasy feeling in my chest. Not necessarily a scary feeling, just that annoying alert feeling you get when you feel like something is watching you. To help ease myself, I hopped right down into a YouTube rabbit hole. About an hour into my journey, I could tell that my girlfriend was having a nightmare, so I put my hand on her arm to gently wake her up. But as soon as I touched her, she bolted awake screaming, mumbled, "the ghost," and immediately went back to sleep. I had just started to get tired, and safe to say, I was sufficiently creeped out at this point, so back down the rabbit hole I went. About 2 hours went by when my girlfriend woke up screaming again, saying, "the footsteps are close," and passed out immediately. I decided I'm not going to sleep that night and went right back to YouTube. Another hour passes, and I see my girlfriend sit up in bed, but she was still asleep. She moved so she was sitting on the edge of the bed and started having a conversation with the corner of the room. She eventually laid back down, but not before I was absolutely terrified. Activity died down after the first night, usually just creaks in the floor or knocks on the wall/door. The only other standout event, besides movement around the room, happened on the second to last night when something sat down on the edge of the bed. My first thought was that my cat jumped on the bed, but I remembered I wasn't at my apartment and sat up just in time to see the indentation lift up off the edge of the bed. It could have been my girlfriend. It couldn't have been my girlfriend, as she was on the opposite side of the bed and nowhere near where the indentation happened. Also, the bed I was staying in was as firm as a rock, so it was challenging to push that far down into it. Fast forward one more sleepless night and I'm on my way back home. After a long day of driving, I got back and settled down with some Netflix. My girlfriend had plans to go hang out with her friends, so she was out for most of the night. I thought I'd finally get a break from the spooky stuff when my dog and cat both start tracking something around my apartment. The way their heads were moving, whatever they saw was moving fast. Now, I've seen them track bugs before, but neither of them really focus on it too much. They usually just huff and ignore it, but this was different. Poppy, my dog, started growling when whatever it was moved into the corner of the room. My cat, Anna, jumped up right next to me on the couch while Poppy growled at the corner and started to slowly back up towards me. After a full week of this, I wasn't even scared anymore, just annoyed and tired, because it likes to keep me from falling asleep. Poppy and Anna both track the thing moving out of the corner towards us. So she starts barking like crazy. After I got her to stop barking, I heard a growl coming from the centre of the room. It was pretty high-pitched, like a small dog or a girl. Judging by where my pets were tracking, it looked like it was very short, very fast, and could jump up on the table and counters. I stood up, stared in its general direction, and said, "Please leave." I got a huge wave of chills and got goosebumps in places I didn't know I could get goosebumps. But I said it again much louder and more stern this time, while opening my front door to let it out. Whatever it was got really upset. It didn't do anything. I could feel a lot of anger. My pets tracked it moving towards the door, so I thought I was in the clear. About 2 minutes later, my dog starts barking at the corner of the room where the door is, while my cat is on full alert, staring at the same place. At this point, I just give up and hope it just leaves me alone, since it hadn't been violent yet, just annoying. Poppy eventually fell asleep at my feet, and Anna had run into the other room, occasionally poking her head out the door to look in, and immediately spring back into the room. I just gave up on dealing with it at this point. I put my earbuds in to block out the knocks on the walls and watch some YouTube. I decided to stay up until my girlfriend got back to let her know what was happening. But whatever it was took this as an opportunity to mess with me. I was laying on my couch and kept feeling something poking me every 5 minutes. Not hard, just constant pokes on my arms and legs and feet. After this went on for a while, it pulled up on my nostrils. Again, I just ignored it, because I learned it just gets worse if I engage with it. Whenever something like this would happen, I could feel the apartment get much colder, despite my thermostat saying it was 72 degrees. After hours of knocking, poking, pulling, and the occasional arm brush, my girlfriend finally got home. The second she got through the door, I could tell whatever it was left, as I had no uneasy feeling, and there were no more weird noises. So I had one of the most restful nights I've had in over a week. I don't know if it's gone for good, or if it will come back tonight, but I will post an update tomorrow if anything happens. Any help on this would be greatly appreciated, as I don't know how to handle it. Other than the growl and the short but overwhelming sense of anger, it hasn't been violent or disturbing, just really annoying. Any help on how to identify or safely communicate with it would be greatly appreciated. Edit. It's only been a couple of hours since I posted this, but activity has been a little higher since. For starters, I'm running a fever out of the blue. My temperature was at 98.8 this morning. I checked because I had a fever the previous night, and it's risen again to 101.3 in only 15 minutes. On top of this, the knocking and rustling noises around the apartment have started up again. I feel absolutely drained. It's even hard to keep my eyes open despite a good night's rest yesterday. The main point of this post is for advice and help on how to deal with this thing. Thank you to everyone who can help. Update. Thank you to everyone worried about my physical health. I went to the doctors and I'm COVID-free. It turns out a previous sinus infection I thought I got rid of came back with a vengeance, which caused my fever and other symptoms. Luckily, I have different medication, which should clear it up within the week. There's been no new activity since a couple of nights ago, not even an unsettling feeling. My girlfriend and I have been home pretty consistently the past day, and things seem to only pick up when I'm alone at the apartment. Normally I wouldn't be worried, but I have to take the next couple of days off work, and my girlfriend is leaving for a beach trip the next couple of days. She went to the doctor too, just in case, and they said she's all clear. I'll make sure to update or make another post if things pick up again over the next couple of days.
While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
It was the nostrils that got me, and I know that they may have had a few problems with the sinuses, but somebody tearing at your nostrils? No, thank you. It's bad enough when you've got a cold and you can't breathe and you can't... I get in a panic. I get in a panic about everything, don't I? But anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.